All right. Well, see, it's 1:59 p.m. Pacific. It looks like we're about to get started with this workshop for how to create an app to read Reddit via text messages. I'm just going to boot this up, make sure that everything's working properly, and in about a minute or two, we'll get started with this workshop. Okay. Well, it's 2 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, so I'm Edward Zhang, and I'm the founder of Student R&D and Code Day. So basically, Student R&D is a 501c3 nonprofit organization with the mission of creating the next generation of technologists. And you know, we're here running Code Day next weekend. Over 2,000 students are going to be joining us in 24 different cities all across the country to build something awesome in 24 hours. So I hope hope all of you guys are attending that. But just wanted to welcome everyone to the workshop. So if you haven't already, go to codeday.org and make sure to check out a Code Day near you, and hopefully I'll see you at one of them. So, okay, sounds good. So let's get started. So today what we're going to be building is a Reddit browser with Node.js and Twilio. And this is based off of a guide that I wrote about a year and a half ago. It's kind of fun. The premise behind it is that you're at school or you're at work and you have no way of accessing Reddit and you want to read it. So what are you going to do? This was kind of in the days before everyone had data plans. So what you wanted to do was just use your text messages to read Reddit. So I'm going to text this number, and I haven't really touched this number for a while. So it seemed like last time I tried it with the audience and demoed it like about 2 hours ago in the previous workshop I did. It didn't quite work, but let's see if this works again. I mean, for other people. So try texting this number. It's 206-456-6132. And just text anything to it. I'm just going to text hi. So you see I'm texting hi, and then it's just texting me back saying, hey, look, here are the top headlines on Reddit. See if you can text it, see if you can get a response. If not, maybe it's something to some limitation to the trial account that I'm using, that it can't text anyone besides my own number. But anyways, that's just a basic demo of what we're going to be building today. And while the original use case for browsing Reddit at work or at school is not as useful, it's just a cool it's just a really cool demo about what you can do with various services on the internet, and just like it's less than I think like less than 30 lines of code or something like that allows you just to do something kind of cool in the real world. So I'm going to be watching the comments on the YouTube live channel, so if you have any questions or whatnot, just make sure just comment in the YouTube live channel, or you can message me at Edward Starcraft on Twitter, or add me at Edward Starcraft on Skype to send me a message. So, okay. So Fritz on Fire said, you can't create a Twilio account at this time. I did not test the Twilio account creation. So if that's the case, that's going to be not very good. Let me just make sure that I can actually create another account on Twilio's website. But if you haven't already, what I'd like you to do is at the bottom of the YouTube live page, at the bottom of the description, there's this tutorial that it kind of follows, and I'd like you just to follow that. So let me see if I can sign up for the Twilio account. Okay. Yeah, it seems to work for me. You do need to verify your phone number, but I think it should work. So, okay, let me open up my screen share and we will get this started. Cool. Okay, so yeah, so I think maybe it's something to do with the trial account that I'm using. Just doesn't let anyone else text the number and get replies except for just me, which I think might work. So, okay, it's good that Rich says he can create a Twilio account, since otherwise that would make the workshop hard. So, okay, what we're going to do to use this, we're going to use 3 different technologies. The first thing is a technology called Node.js, and what Node.js is it's a web programming language based off of JavaScript, and I mean it is JavaScript, but you're using JavaScript to make websites and web applications. Twilio, this is an API, application programming interface, that allows you to interact with phones using web-based development tools. And the third thing that we're going to use is Heroku, which is an easy way to host web applications. So the first thing I want you to do is download and install Node.js. So if you go to this tutorial, and as I said, the tutorial link is at the bottom of the YouTube page. If you go to the tutorial link, and then click on Node.js, click install, and just download and install Node.js. Go to Twilio and Heroku's websites and create accounts for yourself. And then download and install the Heroku tool belt, which is also linked to from this site. So do these 3 things. I'm going to wait like 3 minutes for you to accomplish that. So basically, we'll start again at 2:10 with actual content for what to do. So do those 3 things. I'll give you 30 seconds, and I'll start talking about how we are going to get this. How are we going to make this this actual application? Okay, great. So first thing that I wanted to talk about this tutorial is that, I mean, what I'm doing today is really based off of this written tutorial. So, I mean, if you ever get behind, there are 2 things that you can do. One is you can scroll back in this live broadcast. Yeah, you can scroll back, you can forward back to live, and then at the end, this will get saved as a YouTube video. So, like, if you just refresh later on or go back to this link, it will be as a YouTube video. Like, for instance, the workshop that we did at noon Pacific time earlier today, you can see is now an archived video on the website. So, but really, the point of this workshop is to get you really started in the right direction, so you can start doing more things with your knowledge about technology. And kind of at this beginning of this tutorial, I'm assuming that you have some experience with coding with actual code. So maybe like APCS or maybe CS 101 at college, and you know, but with that knowledge, what we're going to do with it is some actual fun stuff. So let's first talk about how we want this app to work. So first we have to really design the application, and while we don't have to really do in-depth sort of while we don't really need to do in-depth let's design and draw out everything that we want to do. We really want to think, what do we want to do with this application? What do we want this application to do? So 4 things that we want this to do. One is you text something to a phone number. The second thing is you want you want it to text you back. Well, you want it to request a list of top posts from Reddit. And third, you want it to text you back this post. So how we're going to do it is when you text this phone number, it's going to contact Twilio. You want your Twilio application then to contact Reddit. Then you want that to send a response back to Twilio, which texts you. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to set up our app with Heroku. We're going to get started with Node.js and Heroku. So now it's 2:10. So I think we can get started with the actual. I'll assume that most of you have things installed. If not, get them installed in the next few minutes while we get started. So let's just make sure. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is actually follow a different guide. We're not going to follow the guide that I wrote, but we're going to follow the first half of Heroku's Getting Started with Node.js guide. So with that guide, you're going to learn how to set up a simple Node.js app using Express.js, which is another library on Node, and deploy it properly to Heroku. So after we get to seeing Hello World on the Heroku subdomain, we're going to return to the first guide that we have. So, okay, we have this guide open. It says Getting Started with Node.js on Heroku. We have Node.js installed. We have the Heroku toolbelt installed. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go open up a command line. And if you're not familiar with the command line, that's fine. I'll help you walk through it. But if you're on a Windows-based computer, you can type in just a search bar on your computer, CMD, and it's going to open up this kind of a black box, which we call the command line. If you're on Mac, open up your applications folder and open up what's called the terminal, and it's going to be a white box. But for both of these, it's going to be a box that you can kind of type into and do things. Now, a lot of programmers really. So let me. I do have the Mac open up in the background, so I'll show you how you do it on Mac as well. 1 second. Okay, so on a Mac, what I like to do is just open up the search bar by pressing Command space and just typing in terminal, and boom. Then we have. I already have some stuff open in it, but you know it will be a white box with stuff that you can type in. Okay. If you have any problems finding the command prompt, just mention it in the chat. I'm sure people will want to help, and I'll be looking at that chat very often as well. Okay, so first thing that we do, we have the Heroku toolbelt installed. Now we can type in this first command, which is Heroku login. Here, it's Heroku login. And so with Heroku login, then it's going to ask me what's your email, .edu, and what's your password to Heroku. Okay, and for me it says authentication successful. For some of you it might say could not find an existing public key. Would you like to generate one? Yes/no. You can press enter. It will just assume that you meant yes, and it will generate a key, which basically allows you to securely communicate with Heroku. Because I've already done it, it didn't ask me that, but I'm just saying that that's something I might ask you to do. Okay, so the next thing is to write your app. And another thing that I'd like to I didn't mention in this in the tutorial, but if you don't have, you should also install a text editor. A very popular one right now is called Sublime Text. If you just search for Sublime Text, it's a text editor. It's kind of like Notepad, but people like it a little more. So basically, yeah, it allows you just to write code a little easier. So just download that for Windows or for Mac or for Linux, and then you'll be good. So first thing we're going to do in this tutorial is write the app. And Heroku says we might be starting from an existing app. If not, here's a simple hello world source file we can use. So let's just use their hello world source file. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up my documents folder, and I'm just going to create a new folder in here and call it Reddit browser. In this folder, I'm going to create a file, and in here, this Heroku tutorial is saying that we should name it web.js. So let's create a new file. You can do that in Sublime a bit easier, actually. Let me reset my Sublime just to the default. So, because right now, I know right now it might look a little bit weird. Change the columns again. I haven't used the Windows version of Sublime for a while, so I forget how to change the columns, but it should be in the View toolbar. There, single column, Alt-Shift-1. Okay, great. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to copy in this. We're going to name it web.js, and we're going to save it into the Reddit browser folder. Okay, so this is just some basic template code for Node.js. The Heroku tutorial doesn't really explain it very well, but the basic things that it will do is I'll go through this code really quickly. So it's creating an application here with Node.js. It's requiring several things. One is it's creating an express variable, which is using the express library. Again, a set of tools that just allow you to develop web applications a bit easier. I wouldn't really worry about the rest of the stuff here, but the primary thing that we're going to be looking at is app.get/ is function result.send hello world. And basically what this means is when you request the / portion of the website, it's going to send hello world. So that means, like, you know, any website we go to, this / that's what it's talking about right here. So let me open up the Rich Beltran asks, is no plus is good, no plus is also pretty good. So, okay. Okay. Looks like some people are having trouble generating the key. If that happens, I think someone. Okay, there's no comment here anymore. If that happens, it's actually a relatively common problem with Heroku. I think Aaron's thing will help solve it. I've personally not run into that issue, but if you can't generate the key there, we can look together, and there will be some instructions on Google to help solve it. And it's basically something that I don't quite remember why it happens. But okay, so we're going to go back to this guide. Basic, besides the magic indentations at the start and at the beginning, we're really just focusing on new request / web page. It's going to send hello world. Second thing we'll have to do is Okay. Let's screen share this again. Okay. So hopefully we are back up. Now we have the web.js file. We have the package.json file. And then the third thing that we need to do is make, let's see, make a what's called a proc file. And proc file just tells Heroku what commands to run to actually start running your application. So here it says we want a web application. We're going to run the command node web.js. That means we use the node engine to run the web.js file that we have here. And this is literally just called proc file. There's no extension to it, just proc file. Let's hear. I believe if I go. Okay, I'm having some issues on this computer to actually getting things running. Oh, okay. 1 second. Okay, what is throwing me off right here actually is the fact that this tutorial on Heroku has slightly changed, and it's not quite done it this way before. Let me try a few things really quickly. Okay, got it working now. Okay, so we are going to step back really a little bit, but we should get this working pretty quickly. Okay, so we created the web.js file, we created the package.json file, we created the proc file. What's in it? We literally just copied it from the Heroku tutorial. That's fine. The web.js file, it has basically one line of logic saying send hello world to the browser. The package.json file just tells you a little bit about the actual thing that you're doing, and then the proc file tells Heroku what to run. Okay. The last thing that we'll need to do is install the Express packages, because that is something that that our application depends on, which is the Express framework. If you're interested in learning more about Express, and Express is actually something that you should be learning and reading more about, just search for Express.js, and there's actually a fairly comprehensive documentation on what Express is. There's a guide, API reference that will tell you a lot about Express. So we're using this. We're following the Heroku guide right now, and it tells us just a little tiny bit about Express, not enough, but we'll have to do that. So here what we need to do, so we have the command line. So I'm going to just clear this really quickly. And when we start, you can see that the bar or the text that it shows you at is c:/user/Edward. Yours is probably going to be your name. On Macs, it will be slash, I think like /users/ your username. The thing is, we created a folder earlier to store all of our files, and so we want to navigate there with the command line. And so a lot of programmers really like the command line, and the reason is because when you're doing complicated tasks, yes, you can click around, but there's so many things to click on. So it's easier and faster to type it. And the other thing is that you can programmatically run programs and do things by having a program type in what you want to do. So you'll see the command line a lot more when you start programming more, and it's totally normal. So the first command that we are going to learn for the command line is actually the cd command. So if you type in cd, it's going to allow you to change directory and move into different folders. Now I saved my Reddit browser folder in the documents/Reddit browser folder. So in here you see I'm in cd:/user/Edward. I'm going to use this cd command, the change directory command, to cd myself into documents. Now you can see the URL, or I mean not the URL, but the directory I'm in is now the documents folder. I can do it again, cd Reddit browser, to change into the Reddit browser folder. And now if I type in, on Windows it's dir, on Mac or Linux it's ls, and if you have the Heroku tool belt installed, I think ls will also work. So if you type in ls, it will show you, hey, here are the files that are in that folder. You have the proc file, you have the package.json, and you have the web.js file. What we're now going to run is this line of code inside the Heroku's tutorial. I'll paste this into the YouTube channel as well. And then we're going to run this command. Excuse me. So actually paste stuff by not copy this button. Okay. npm install express fnt-state. I've already done this, but what this will do is this will install Express and then put it in the same folder and make sure that your application can use it properly. Jungchen Hu is asking, what does the proc file do again? What the proc file does is it tells Heroku what actual file to run. So the proc file says you should run node web.js. So because in this folder, right, we have several different files. If I had web.js, I could have like data.js. I could have whatever files in here. The proc file just says which files to actually run, and we're using the node command to run it. So now that we've created these 3 files, and we've also installed Express with that command, what we're going to do is we're going to use this tool that the Heroku forbelt gives us. The name of the tool is called forman. And we're going to give forman the command to start. And what that's going to do is it's going to start running your web application and just listening to things, listening and running it. We could just actually run this application by doing node web.js, which, if you can tell, is actually what we told the Heroku to do in here. But we're testing the Heroku configuration, and Heroku has its simulator using forman. So forman start will just test Heroku's configuration to make sure that it will also run correctly in that environment. So after we started using forman, we can open up any web browser and type in localhost:5000, and then hopefully you'll get to this where it says hello world. If not, I will be pausing right now to help you all get to this state where you can run your web application using forman start, and then you go and navigate to it, and it says hello world. CMD does not recognize forman. So Jeffrey, have you tried installing the Heroku toolbelt? And if so, did you install the Heroku toolbelt before or after you opened up the command prompt? Because if you installed it after you opened up the command prompt, you'll need to close the command prompt again and open it back up to so that it loads the fact that Foreman is on your system. So close it and reopen it. Okay, Liang is having that same problem. So yeah, two things. Make sure that you install the Heroku toolbelt, which was linked up here in the Heroku toolbelt. It's at toolbelt.heroku.com. And the second thing is, if you install the Heroku toolbelt after opening up the command prompt, just close the command prompt, reopen, re-navigate to that folder, and do it. You did it before. Okay, so Rich, if you're still having problems with generating keys, I will have to help you after this workshop is over. And we can look at it together because I know it is a relatively common problem. Okay, Yasha says, Foreman starts, but it only says started with process ID XXXXX. Doesn't say that the server is listening on 5000. That's actually correct. On mine, actually, Foreman doesn't say anything. The listening on 5000 is only when you use a node command. So that should be fine. Yasha, you should be able to go to localhost : 5000 and see it. Let's see, Jeffrey. Let me look at this toolbelt and see. Because I think Foreman is part of the Foreman should be part of the Heroku toolbelt, not part of Node.js. So Yasha, does that work? Okay, let's just not use Foreman for right now, and hopefully it will work when we deploy to Heroku, but it seems like we're just having some issues with Foreman. So instead, let's just type in node web.js. We'll say listening on 5000, and then we can go to localhost : 5000 and see it say hello world. So Liang, Yasha, Jeffrey, can you guys confirm that you get to this point with me? That you have your node application running and it says hello world? Okay, I'll wait a minute or two to let you guys get it working. Cool. Looks like everything works now. Okay, great. So we are going to do a few more things now. Now we have components of our app. Our app is running, and it's running locally. Now what we can do is we're going to publish it to the internet. So we're going to exit out of this node command. And how to do that is literally you just press Control-C on Windows or Command-C on Mac. You might have to press it twice to actually exit out, and it will exit out and then go back to the main command prompt. We're going to add this to a Git repository, and if you're not familiar with Git, it's a source control which allows you to basically keep track of different versions of your web application. And this is something that is useful for you to learn, especially if you're going to work on more projects. So you can maintain different versions of the same file without saying like index.js_old.old. Don't use this, or something like that. Instead, it will just allow you to keep track of changes much easier. And also, it allows for more collaboration. So if you're going to be working with a team of programmers later on after you graduate, or if you have an internship, Git is one of the most likely tools that you'll use. Okay, so we're going to use 3 commands. First, we're going to say git init. And what git init does is it tells Git to start tracking things in this folder. So it says initialize git empty git repository in Reddit browser. Great. Next thing we're going to type is git add dot. Okay. Git add dot means add everything that's in the current folder. The dot means everything that's in the current folder. I mean, the dot means the current folder, but you could also say git add web.js, git add procfile, git add whatever, but git add dot is just a lot faster. The third thing that we're going to do is type in git commit -m init. And what this will do is it will just save a copy of everything with the comments. The -m init means your comment is, or the message is init. So init means initial files. So we're now saving a copy of the initial files to Git, and we're just letting it keep track of this. Okay. Now that we've done that, we can use Heroku. We can use the command Heroku, type in Heroku create. And again, these are a bunch of different commands. You can look up what else you can do with these commands later on. You know, there's a lot of information. But for now, we're just going to, I'm just going to skim through these so you can learn more about this later. So Heroku create, and now it says creating Morning Beach 1262, done. Stack is Cedar. And now you can go to this website, morningbeach1262.herokuapp.com. Right now it says application error because we haven't actually uploaded anything to it, but it's actually creating now a temporary website for us. Now we type in the command git push Heroku master. Oops, I spelled it wrong. And what this will do is this will upload the copy, the last saved data that we saved into Git to Heroku. And now you can see it says compressing, launching, Morning Beach is deployed to Heroku. And if I go to Morning Beach 1262, now it will say hello world. You guys can also go to morningbeach1262.herokuapp.com and verify that it says hello world on my side. But for you, what I would like you to do is now push your application so you can view it on the web. So I'm going to wait until about 12:43 for you to get that done. And then if you have any questions so far in the thing, that you can ask in the YouTube comments. Jeffrey Zhao is asking, stack is Cedar. What exactly does that mean? Now, stack is Cedar. So Heroku has several stacks, and stacks means like sets of technologies. The current stack that Heroku is on is called Cedar. So that's the set of technologies that they're using to deploy things. I forget what the previous stack was called, but if you would like, you can ask Heroku to deploy it to a previous stack. It's just some debug information for you to know if you're a little more in tune with Heroku's tools. So, I mean, if you want to learn more, I mean, I'm going to just search for the Cedar stack, and you can see Heroku actually has a page called Stacks, and it tells you about all the stacks that they have. So yeah, right now the two stacks they have, one is Cedar and one is Bamboo, and Bamboo is the older stack that they have. Bamboo only supports, I think, like Rails, but Cedar supports Node.js, Java, Python, everything. So pretty much almost everything is on Cedar. And here's a great documentation about exactly how Cedar works as well. So it's pretty cool if you want to read more into it. So Yashi got 4-man working, just had mistyped Node as Nano in the profile. That's why, even though I know it's kind of weird to just copy and paste in these tutorials, I just recommend doing the copy and paste because least likelihood for mistakes when we're going through a tutorial like this. Okay. So I'd like you guys to confirm we have, like, I've tried to so say these words in the comments because I don't really know where people are commenting at times. I've deployed it to Heroku and I can access it and see hello world or something like that. Because if you go to Morning Beach 1262, you can see that it says hello world. Okay. Jeffrey Zhao is getting permission denied public key when trying to push. Jeffrey, did you do Heroku login? If you did and that worked, I don't know. This is kind of part of Rich's issues, what he was getting earlier. Okay, if you try using the command Heroku keys :add, that should add your public key to Heroku. Yeah, that seems to work for Josh. Okay. So pretty much that ends our the section where we're using the Heroku tool tutorial. Now we are going to go back to the Reddit browser tutorial and do a little more there. So we're going to go back here. Hello world. So as I say in this tutorial, Heroku does like creating wacky names that are kind of easy for you to remember for your app. We can rename them later, but for right now it doesn't matter because no one's going to your website directly. Everyone's going to be calling them. Okay, so Leon got it pushed, but still displaying application error. Then what you can try doing is type in Heroku logs, and then it will show you what the error message is. Jeffrey is getting fatal, could not read from remote repository. So for Jeffrey, have you created the Git repository, and then have you done Heroku create? because you can't push it if you haven't created a. So it's important that you set up the. Okay, Josh is also getting an application error as well. Okay, can you type in Heroku logs and give me the error message that it gives you? So is it Heroku logs or is it Heroku log? I don't quite remember. Yeah, Heroku logs. So for right now, I'm getting a bunch of non-error messages, which is good. Hmm. Let's take a look at Josh's. Okay, so the fatal error that Josh is getting is because you can see error cannot find module express. So that means you didn't install the Express framework, which is resolved by. So I think I pasted the code into here earlier. Yeah, so I'm asking him to and then Nailing's getting public key errors. But I thought you just pushed, Leon, so I'm not quite sure why this is happening. If tells me Git does not have add, which is a very weird bug. Okay, what about this? Let's keep on going since we're actually getting stuck on more of the more mundane things about this. I want to actually talk about how this application works and how we can configure it and demonstrate it, and then we can go back and then after. No, maybe I think we'll go into like 3.10, 3.15 to get everything finished. But after that, then we can go and debug all of your issues because it seems like we're having a lot of issues with different environments and whatnot. So error while trying to install log fmt. Okay, and I mean we can do like This is actually Hangouts on air, so pretty much we can add you everyone to this Google Hangout. And then you can do a screen share with me, and then I can help you diagnose it a little better. Especially because right now there is like a 30-second or 1 minute long lag time for me to the broadcast. So, okay, so let's keep on going here. I know that's not ideal, but I want to get to the portion of the guide that I wrote, not the portion that's Heroku's. So. First thing that we want to do is request data from Reddit. And so Reddit has what's called an API. And an API, again, is an application programming interface, which they document over here. So their API just allows programs to access their data. And so actually retrieving data from Reddit is pretty easy. So if I'm going to like Reddit's homepage, so reddit.com, right? How I want to retrieve a programmatic way is I just go to /.json, and it gives me programmatic data about Reddit. So, or if I want to see the r/askreddit subreddit, and I just append /.json, and then it gives me different data. Or if I want to look at this user called For Science, I just append /.json, and it will give you some info. So, for all of this, JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. It's just a way of encoding information that's very machine readable and easy for humans to also read. Now, while this doesn't look like it's easy for humans to read, what we're just going to do is we're going to copy everything that's on this page. We're going to, see, I think I have a link here, yep, to a JSON parser. So this website, what it does is it just kind of expands out this JSON, so it's a little easier for us to read. So you can see there's a listing, it's data, and it shows like data about, hey, this data is from imager.com, the author is For Science, the thumbnail is from this JPEG file, the link is this permalink, and then here's the title. NASA just put a very nice camera on the ISS, and it takes very nice pictures. And next thing is another piece of data, right? Another imager link. Saying interesting hammer design. And here's another imager link. Is Reddit literally all imager links? Yeah, imager, 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 imager. Is literally just imager. So that's how this JSON file works. It just has this programmatic way that your program can now read, which is awesome. Okay. So, next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add another dependency here to our Node.js file. It's called Restler, and Restler is a library that helps you download information from other websites, and download information from other websites. So in here, you can see I have this code snippet. We're going to edit the package.json file. Package.json file right now says you have dependencies for Express and log fmt. Honestly, I think maybe some of the problems that are being caused right now are from log fmt because I actually have not used that before. And so it's changed kind of how, like, some of the Heroku tutorial is different because of that. But for now, I'm just going to add a comma after log fmt. I'm going to say add Restler. Now I'm going to go to this command prompt and say npm install, which npm install looks at our package.json file, and then and it downloads and installs what we say are dependencies here. So in your code now, what we're going to do is we're going to add another variable at the beginning of web.js, saying var wrestler equals to require wrestler, and then update our main event app handler from app.get / to app.all, and just copy and paste this code for now. Let me explain this code. So before we said app.get, now we say app.all. The reason is because there are multiple ways for a web browser to request information. So we're just going to do it the easy way, and we're going to change it to app.all request formats. In this code, we say we're going to get wrestler. We're going to have wrestler get this information from reddit.com/.json, and once it completes, we're going to make we're going to go through the first 5 things, and we're going to create a variable called titles. We're going to go through the first 5 objects that this JSON thing has, and then we're going to get this title and send this response of the titles. So I'm going to save this, go to the package JSON and the web.js. If I go run this application, don't have to upload it to Heroku. But I just type in foreman start, okay, and go to localhost :5000. Now it says NASA just put a very nice camera on the ISS, and it takes nice pictures. An interesting hammer design. My buddy got written up after work after some complaints, and so you can see it just has literally all the text of the first 5 things on Reddit, which is really cool. Okay, so now we have all the titles up here. Now what's next? And there's a little more information in this tutorial on what exactly is doing. Why are we doing reddit.data.children and this number for this for loop? The reason is, if you go into this JSON parser and just kind of look in here, right? We're doing this main objects children property, and the children property has a data array. The children is an array of multiple data things, and then this has another data property, which has a title property in it, which has the title. So that's why it's reddit.data.children number.data.title. Okay. The other thing that's slightly confusing about Node.js is that you notice that we're actually nesting a bunch of functions into each other. So, app.all function, and here onComplete is another function. So Node.js is an asynchronous programming language. So there's a lot of debates on whether that's a good or a bad thing. But basically, before, you might write code like data equals the time-consuming task, then print data. Instead, in Node, you would say time-consuming task, and then pass it a function for it to run after it's done. So function data, print data. So I know it's a bit confusing here. This is something that I would like you to learn more about in your free time after this tutorial is over. But I just wanted to kind of go over the basic concept so that you can learn a little more after this tutorial. Okay. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to set up text messaging with Twilio. So you've registered for a Twilio account, you get a trial number. Basically, what a trial number does is every single text message it sends out says sent from your Twilio trial account, which is not a huge deal because we're just messing around with this for now. So go to your Twilio dashboard, and so what we're going to do is in our dashboard, you can see it says numbers. So we're going to click on numbers, and here it shows you your trial number, and here we're going to we want to click on this so that we can edit it. And here for messaging, it says request URL. And this request URL says hey guys, when we get a request, a text message for this number, where should we ask you for more information on how to handle it? And what we're going to say is, go to this Heroku app. So I would paste in your Heroku URL, whatever it is. Like for me, that's morningbeach1262.herokuapp.com. And paste that in, and just save it. Okay, so that means whenever whenever Twilio gets a text message at that phone number that you have, it's going to go and send a web request to your Heroku app, and then ask it for more info. Okay, so now that we have this, you'll need to, right now we have our app and it just shows all the titles and it's just in one long sentence. We'll need to format it in a way that Twilio can read. So Twilio has what's called TwyML. Twiml, I'm not sure how it's actually supposed to be pronounced, but it's called Twilio Markup Language. And if you go and look into the API documentation on the Twilio website, they'll tell you a little more on how to use Twiml, Twilio Markup Language. So if you're familiar with HTML, in HTML you might have things like these tags that show, hey, this is an HTML page, this is a paragraph, this is an image. Instead, in Twilio Markup Language, it's very similar, but instead it says, hey, this is a response. You're going to save this, and you're going to play this MP3 instead. So there's a link to the Twiml documentation on this tutorial for more information. You can read about all of the capabilities of Twiml, but for right now, what we're going to use is just at the SMS element. So it says, hey, here's the response. In this response, you're going to send this SMS message with this text inside. Okay. So we're going to then we're going to modify our response handler to add SMS tags and the response tags at the start and then the end of a response. So if I copy this, replace the app.all code with this, you can see I didn't actually change that much code, just adding a little more information. Now if I save it, I run it again, So I need to restart formatting. It looks the same on the outside, but if you view the source code, it will show you, hey, look, here are the response and the SMS tags. Now, once I git add a dot, git add commit and final version, git push Heroku master. Okay, now it's launching. I go to my morningbeach1262.herokuapp.com. It shows all of these Reddit posts now. And now, now if I text that number, so let me turn on my video again so I can show you. So now if I text the phone number, I know I didn't really change anything since I had this exact same app running earlier on. But now if I text this number and I click send, so there we get the top headline from Reddit on my account. So now I know that this is kind of why I sped through, because we went through like 40 minutes of setting up the Heroku and everything and making all that work and installing stuff. And literally it took me like maybe 5 minutes to actually get the Reddit portion to actually work well. So But now that app works, and at the end of this, I have some challenges for like other things that you might want to do. You could have it read comments via text message. You can make it support phone calls, make it support Hacker News, make it browse subreddits based on what you text. Those are all things that you could try doing more with your knowledge of this so far. So, okay. Now I'm going to invite you guys to join the Google Hangouts call. So if you want, just paste in your Google Hangouts email address, and then I will send you an invite to the Google Hangouts call, and we'll figure out all of this messy little stuff regarding configuration and getting Heroku working properly. Because I know that was actually the most difficult part, not actually getting the Reddit browsing portion to work. So. Yeah, just paste in your Google Plus email, and then I will invite you to the Google Plus Hangouts right here, and then we can be in this call and then get your issues resolved. Otherwise, after that, if you don't have Google Hangouts, then I'll invite you guys to Skype in and figure that out. But for now, let's stick it to the Google Hangouts. So. For now. What other websites would this app work with? Asks Susanna. It actually it will probably work with quite a few different. Well, I can actually just share this link directly. But maybe. But there's quite a few websites that will actually have APIs. So if you search for, let's say, your favorite website and search for API, you will a lot of times find information about it. So let's say I might want to view information from Yelp about local restaurants, so I could search restaurant data via text message. If I search for Yelp API, you can see here that it will say, hey, look, how do you search? This is how you send a search request. You send it to /v2/search. Remember, for Reddit, we just sent it to /.json, right? Here we send it slightly different. And here it says, hey, here's the sample request. You just go to api.yelp.com, term equals to food, and location equals to San Francisco. And it's for instance, right here, you can see here's another piece of JSON text. In this instance, I'm getting an error, and the reason is because Yelp actually makes you register so that you can access them programmatically. Reddit doesn't make you do that, but Yelp does. So most APIs will make you register. Reddit is just one of the nicer and easier ones to work with. Facebook has a great API. Twitter has a great API, and so on and so forth. Okay. So I tried to invite Liang to the Google Plus Hangout. It didn't seem to do much. But if you want the link, since I can't actually paste the, so just go to plus.google.com. Okay, so just go to plus.google.com and then / all these things. Or not /, just /, and then you can join the Google Hangout via that. Okay, so is anyone want to join the Hangout? And then I can help you solve the issues. Otherwise, you can add Skype Edward's Start Crash and help you there. That's it again. Okay, well,
Hello, Edward.
hey, how's it going?
I'm good.
Hey, so can you do a screen share with me, and we can try to figure this thing out? I know the SSH keygen thing is it's kind of a big issue.
All right. Okay.
Okay. By the way, so this is on the live broadcast, so make sure if you have any sensitive info, don't show it. But okay, let's try to get this to work. Okay, cool. So okay, SSH keygen is not recognized as an internal or external command. Okay, that's actually not that difficult of an issue then, because basically we just need to get the SSH keygen program onto your computer. It's funny though, because I thought the Heroku tool belts like had all of these things. So yeah, try pressing yes again one more time. Okay, yeah. So I think you just
I know. They're really.
let's see. So if you go to search for putty and then so search for putty and then use puttygen.
Oh. Okay.
So puttygen is like the last thing in the first portion. And I think if you say generate public-private key pair. Let's see.
Y habían dicho que eran como 4 días.
So, what should I do from here?
Okay, so generate a key using PuTTY.
Alright.
Oh, you're in PuTTY itself. Here, let me try one more thing. Also, in the Rodrigo folder, can you try? So go back to the command prompt. Try typing in cd.ssh. So change directory to the .ssh folder.
Oh wait. No. Okay.
Okay, seems like the screen share has started lagging and I don't see any updates for on your screen. Can you try restarting the screen share? Let's see.
I'm done.
Hey, so Rodrigo, can you try restarting the screen share? All right. Now list the contents. So type in ls or dir. Okay, dir. I think Heroku Toolbelt has just changed since the last time I downloaded, because yeah, it used to install like a lot more tools with it.
There's empty.
Okay, it's an empty folder.
So there's it's like a very empty folder.
Okay. So let's try it. Never really understood. Okay. So what I do is go to open up PuTTyGen. So you downloaded PuTTY instead of PuTTyGen.
Oh.
Yeah. So PuTTyGen is like the 4th or 5th one down.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So that will generate basically. So how it works is PuTTY or Git or SSH, they use a public-private key pair to encrypt your conversation between your connection. So right now there's a failure in the encryption, and so because it's not actually sharing the correct keys with each other. Yeah. So you wave your hand above the gray area, not like in the white area.
Okay, generated.
Okay. Cool. So, so with this, I believe what you do now, open up a new file, or say save, click Save Public Key. Does it open up a save dialog? Okay, now navigate to your .ssh folder. So click on Rodrigo, like in the top menu bar thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and then go to the .ssh folder. And then name this id_rsa.pub.
Underscore
Or
ID underscore.
okay, actually, name it Heroku_key.ppk. Oh shoot, sorry. Okay, and no, don't. Sorry. Yeah, don't name it. So yeah, do name it id_rsa.pub. I'm sorry. id_rsa.pub.
As a
PUB. Yeah.
PUB.
Okay. And then say save private key. Yeah, that's fine. And then we're going to name it Heroku_key. Okay, now I think if you go to your command line again and say Heroku keys:\add. Invalid public key.
Oh wait, I think I saved it wrong. No.
Okay.
Just allow me a second. Let's see if I can do it again.
Okay, so it just says that saving it using the UI is kind of weird. So okay, here, go back into PuttyGen. No, don't use the save public key as. Cancel out of this dialog. Instead, click on the gray box with the public key in it. Do you see the gray box at near the top with the public key, like with the gibberish sort of? Not in the toolbar, but like right below that. It starts with yeah.
Oh.
Right. So just select all of that. Copy it. Paste it into Sublime Text. now
paste
save it. Yeah, now save it. And then navigate to, the easiest way to get to that folder is, yeah, rodrigo.ssh and then id rsa.pub. Okay, now let's try the Heroku keys add.
Here we go.
Okay, now try, what is it? Where were you getting errors earlier? Was it like Heroku?
Like it could not generate a key for SSH.
Right, were you trying to do Heroku create, or were you trying to do Heroku login, or were you trying to get push?
Like the Heroku login.
Okay, cool. So yeah, now you can follow the rest of the tutorial. Hopefully the rest of it should be relatively smooth sailing. All right, so I'm going to call the other guy that was having issues, and then see if I can help him as well.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, cool. I'm joining it just fine, Leon. If you're, I mean, it will say you're the first one here, but you can see there's actually someone already in there. Okay, I mean, it's not. Hey. Leon, can Okay, can you do a screen share with me? Okay, I can't seem to full screen this for some reason. Can you use Skype at all? Or like, does that just not work at all for you? I can see your screen share in the thumbnail. But it's hard for me to actually see it. Okay, let's see if the remote desktop app works. Cool. Does seem to work. No, it seemed to disappear. I don't know. I can't really get this to work. Liam, can you just call me on Skype? It seems to be working out a lot better than this because I don't know why, but it's just not showing any of this full screen. It might be because I'm using an incognito browser for this.
Hello?
Hey, Richard.
Hi.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm having trouble generating the key.
Okay. Did you see what I was doing with Rodrigo just a few minutes ago?
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
Okay, sounds good.
Can you see?
Yeah.
So I did I renamed the keys. You guys download Putty?
Yep.
And I generated the keys and have them saved.
Okay. So what we found is that you need to copy the what's in the public key folder right there directly to the id_rsa .pub file. So if you right click on the id_rsa .pub.
Alright, what do I do?
Not .ppk, .pub. Yeah, right click on that. Actually rename it because it's id dash, so rename it to id_rsa. And then the other thing, right click on it again. Open it with like edit with Notepad++. Yeah, not with Microsoft Publisher. It's not the right file type. Okay. Okay, that's why there's issues. Okay, now go back into Putty Keygen. Okay, just copy the. Do you see the? Oh, don't click generate again. But yeah, copy this. So everything in this folder, in this file, yeah, and then paste it into this file. Yeah, so pretty much that format with the begin, it's just incorrect, and that's why it's having that error.
So it's good now?
Yeah, it's good now. So now save it and then try doing keys. No, don't modify that. Yeah, that's fine. And then try loading the keys again with the command prompt. Yeah, so I think the main thing is a lot of these tools are also for Linux and Unix-based computers like Macs, and then so just like the Windows versions are kind of a little harder to deal with. Yeah.
So I can just follow from now on with the tutorial?
Yeah, and that should work. Great.
Let's do the same for the Roku key?
No, it should be working fine now. All right, cool.
Right. Thanks.
No problem. Hey, can you do a screen share? Harder to deal with. Okay. So what is the issue that you're having? Okay, you stay scrolled out of the error message because I can't read that fast. Okay. So have you used the putty gen method that I was talking about on the stream? I mean, it's pretty much if you use the putty gen method that I was talking about on the stream, that should solve the problems that you're having. Putty gen, P-U-T-T-Y-G-E-N. I talk about how to do it. Let's see. I'm joining it just fine. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
There's empty.
Okay, it's empty folder.
So there's. Yeah.
Okay, so go to 1 minute, 1 hour, 21 minutes into the video, and then that should have the answers. All right, so I have to take a break because I'm also doing the 4 p.m. workshop. So I'm hopefully you can get this done. If not, I mean just send me a message or tweet, and then I'll try to help you get it working. All right. See ya. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching this broadcast. I know there are a few more issues with getting things working, but you know, for the most part, I think yeah. Let me know feedback about how things went, and like let me know if it works out for you as well. So thanks for watching. At 4 p.m. I'm going to show you how to create Coder Clicker, which if you go to coderclicker.meteor.com, I'll show you the clicking game we have here. So it's a lot of fun. It's going to be a multiplayer clicking game that you can compete with your friends on. Make more money than everyone else. All right. See ya in 20 minutes.